Hello, Fami. What's going on? Okay, today I'm going to talk about what's going on with the AMC short squeeze and the crypto regulation, the possible impact on crypto market. I'll read a few articles and give you my comment on those articles. Okay, I wish I'll start by the video, a short video. And bear with me.
You know what my number one government regulation concern is about crypto? I'll tell you what it is, that there is no government regulation. We can't really grow this industry until it gets regulated and we have the rules. Let me give you an analogy. You love football? I do. I like to watch it on Sundays. You can't play football if there's no rules. You got a bunch of guys running around the field that don't know what they're doing because they don't know what the rules are. Same with crypto. We need the rules. That's the regulator. Once we get the regulator on board, we all understand the rules, we can all build this industry up because the potential is massive. You know what my number one government regulation concern is about crypto? I'll tell you what it is, that there is no government regulation. We can't really grow this industry until it gets regulated and we have the rules. Let me give you an analogy. You love football? I do. I like to watch it on Sundays. You can't play football if there's no rules. You got a bunch of guys running around the field that don't know what they're doing because they don't know what the rules are. Same with crypto. We need the rules. That's the regulator. Once we get the regulator on board, we all understand the rules, we can all build this industry up because the potential is massive. You know,
Okay. Um, that was Kevin Allard. Okay, he made a valid comment regarding the crypto market. To grow this industry, crypto regulation may be good um, to set up some standard and some requirement. I agree at some extent because I understand the reader or the investor and the corporate world need to be reassured. What I mean by that, uh, they need some specific and clear regulation before they invest massive amount of money in crypto market. For that, I understand the position and also, but the problem is the same um, agency and government that will create regulation to control the mass. And he want to grab the control of the crypto market. The same way they control the financial transaction the last, I don't know, last 300 years with the government and the bank. But we know for the crypto market, the crypto technology, actually the blockchain technology, the technology crypto is using, that's a decentralized technology for the most part. And this technology give up, provide the transparency on every transaction. Therefore, it's much more difficult to control the transaction in the crypto market. I also believe, is there a way um, to regulate the market? For example, the leader of the centralized platform like Binance, Crypto.com, Kraken, and amongst many. And the CEO or founder of a different cryptocurrency like Valerie Bertrand of the co-founder of Ethereum, they can do a convention and have different meeting with the leader of the industry and decide to implement some standards, some requirement. By example, to be listed on Binance, to ask for the different project or different cryptocurrency to implement anti-whale mechanism. This way, uh, we that will prevent or slow down the market manipulation. For example, when Elon Musk tweeted some comment regarding one crypto and regarding his corporation Tesla, uh, that moved the market. So and also the FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt create sometimes some panic. Some people with a lot of people who don't have much experience will sell the crypto and that will drop the price, and the big whale, people like Elon Musk or Mark Cuban will buy the crypto cheap. And of course they will wait for some time, months or year. Then when they see a lot of people having interest for crypto, they will tweet something, and when the price is already high, then that will drop the price again. Then they will buy cheap, wait, repeat the cycle, and sell when the price is high. So the anti-whale mechanism to prevent or to slow down the market manipulation is one thing the, the leader of the industry can do. Also, implement more security feature, second or third step validation. Also, what else? Um, for big amount, when you want to withdraw some big amount, maybe put a delay. So let's say you want to withdraw more than 10 or 20% of your account, uh, maybe implement a delay of 24 hours or 48 hours, depending on the amount. This way, the the owner of the account will receive a validation or some email, some message text uh, that demand to validate the transaction and to wait. So that's the second suggestion. We don't need crypto regulation for that, but we understand crypto regulation. The main purpose of crypto regulation is to reassure some potential investor and also for the government to have a opportunity to grab some control, some power, and to tax and to implement some fee. Okay, now I'm going to read an article. This one concern AMC. AMC stock dot pool regulation put fuel the short squeeze. Recently, SEC Chair Gary Chancellor commented is looking very closely into the dark hole. Wall Street man take a closer look and our segment would lead to a short squeeze on AMC stock. Okay, I understand the article is more article, but it's still relevant. AMC stock, get AMC Entertainment Holding Incorporation Class A. Class A report has been moving away from the $40 level in recent week, with the company releasing above expectation second quarter result on Monday, August 9. Many investors are still waiting for a turnaround in the company stock and hoping for the more about short squeeze. But now we can see AMC Entertainment Holding and Corporation Class A, the price $33. He said right now, April 5th, it's lower than that, but is there some fluctuation right now? And is there some dark pool activity? So let me go back to the article. The lack of transparency in the US market is seen by the egg as a main factor preventing AMC stock from going to the moon. Wall Street may take a closer look at the case. Dark pool being observed. SEC Chair Gary Gensler and his recent interviews comment on the new market regulation. According to him, the SEC is looking very closely at the dark pool activity and intend to promote maximum transparency for all investors. Okay, we can see rumors scored forward manipulation radio for big actor hedge fund or elsewhere. We're taking a close look at the market structure to ensure our capital market are working for investor. Okay. Um, I'm not gonna play the video. You can look for the video for yourself. But basically saying we'll investigate about the dark pool activity and potential corruption. But it seems this guy don't really want to really go after the hedge fund. Okay, let's go back to the article. The SEC chairman's speech helped to reassure the retail investors are being heard and that the industry is doing what is necessary to protect them from possible conflict of interest and lack of transparency. However, many aim perceive Gary Gensler's speech with skepticism. According to the comment on the main Reddit forum, the lack of transparency and moving dark pool is quite clear, and the SEC should start to address the issue rather than just observe. Jim Carrey recently commented on this topic. He said that the SEC work done by agencies should be encouraged and applauded, and that disclosure can cure anything but outright fraud. Making an analogy, say the sunlight is the best disinfectant and that easy to see the risk if you dig for them. But he argued that people should see the risk up front on as in cigarette pack. Can the segregate fraud the morals? According to many, with the aid committee, the prime factor preventing the murder of offshore street are fraud and lack of transparency by the regulator of the US financial market. While they claimed this to be not much more than conspiracy theory, Ames believed the dark pool and naked shorts activity had been pulling AMC share price down and that true short interest ratio is much higher than the current 16% reported by the year finance. Worth noting, however, the two massive short squeeze on AMC stock on 2020 occurred despite the current trading environment. In any case, AMC official short interest is high enough to keep bear at risk on being squeezed again. Should eventually bullish turn into a growing snowball, while some hedge fund adding to their short position on AMC this visit a battle seem far forward. Twitter's peak. AMC stock enthusiast, do you believe the potential regulation around dark pool could have a substantial positive impact on AMC stock performance? You can see on the screen the survey. What I'm going to say regarding this matter is since the article, there are a few audience where they call the hedge fund and the hedge fund admitted they commit illegal transaction regarding the dark pool. And we also understand every day they're losing money because they have to paid the margin call. But we also know the regulator will raise the margin call, and soon the majority of the actual won't be able to pay the margin call, and that will trigger the MC short squeeze. And also Kevin Griffin, the H1 of Citadel, had been exposed in many more H1. But is there other factor that may trigger the mass or the model of all short squeeze? Okay, so like I say, Kevin Griffin and Audience One were exposed, and they went to um, seek uh, tribunal audience, and they admit to commit kind of fraud and the corruption and the illegality to the doctor. Every day they losing money and soon they won't be able to pay, and the regulator will rise the margin call. And a lot of factors beside that uh, can trigger the MC short squeeze. So now I will talk about another article. I'll read another article first and talk about it, and you see the correlation of the MC short squeeze. Okay, what to know about China Evergrande, the trouble poverty giant? The firm debt are huge, but Beijing we need to walk fine line if you want to send a message about the reckless borrowing while protecting its economy. Every once in a while, company grows so big and messy that government feel what will happen to the broader economy if it were to fail. In China, Evergrande sprawling real estate developer is that company. Evergrande has the distinction of being the world's most debt-settled developer and has been on life support for months. Now it's looked to be facing the biggest corporate restructuring in Asia. Fitch Rating, a credit rating firm, has said the Chinese developer is in default of its obligation. Evergrande has said that officials from several state-backed institutions are joined a risk committee that will help the company to restructure itself. Evergrande is a huge real estate empire with millions of apartments in hundreds of cities across China. It also has more than 300 billion in financial obligations, hundreds of unfinished residential buildings, and angry supply while shut down construction sites. Things got so bad that the company paid its overdue, paid with unfinished property, and asked employees to lend money. What happened next could reverberate through China economy after the home buyer more than 2.8 million jobs and hundreds of thousands of employees who work for the company. Observers are now watching to see how Beijing handles the next chapter of Evergrande for what it says about the country's intention to clean up the country corporate sector by letting debt bomb like Evergrande caught. Did Evergrande default? For months, Evergrande kept the financial market on edge as it narrowly averaged default several times by making 11 hours payment of its bond. But under mounting pressure and with no cash to keep things going, Evergrande said on December 3rd that it was unlikely to continue its financial obligation. The next week after another deadline on two bond payments came and went with no sign of payment and no word from Evergrande. Fitch Rating placed the Chinese developer in its restricted default category. The category means that Evergrande had formally defaulted but had not yet entered into any kind of bankruptcy filing. liquidation, or at a process that will stop its operation. In the United States, many other places, this will open the door for creditors to take legal action to try to get their money back. But Chinese government option have closely managed Paris corporate meltdown to make sure they don't spiral out of control. So many investors are waiting to see what plan may emerge. Evergrande said it would actively engage with its foreign creditor to come with a plan for restructuring. The often long and drawn-out process of stripping company down and selling off its part to pay everyone off. Everyone could go after asset overseas, but the process would be messy. Evergrande is complex in its entity in company both inside and outside the People's Republic of China, said Daniel Anderson, a partner at the law firm Ropes and Gray in Hong Kong. There isn't a clean single legal mechanism that can be implemented to restrict the group. Sorry about that. There, there is a clean single mechanism that can be implemented to restructure the group. As a result, it will have to be across jurisdiction, which will make it highly complex. How did Evergrande become such a problem? It's going a decade ago, Evergrande sold bottled water on China's best production circuit team, even briefly than pig farming. It became so big and sprawling that it was unit that make electrical car to it was daily mass production. Now Evergrande is seen a rickety threat to China's biggest bank. The company found in 1986 wrote China a big real estate boom that urbanized large swaths of the country and using nearly three-quarters of household wealth being tied and awesome. This put Evergrande at center of power and economy that came to lean on real estate market for supercharged economic growth. The company billionaire founder Zhu Jian is member of the Chinese People Political Consultative Conference and a group of political World Connect advisors. He said connection market gave credit more company to keep lending money to Evergrande. This grew expand into new business eventually to Evergrande end up more debt than it could pay off. In recent years, faced lawsuits from home buyers who are still waiting for completion of apartments they paid for. Supply leaders have claimed hundreds of billions of dollars are not on bail. Some have suspended construction on a regular budget. Why this company is so much trouble now? Evergrande may have been able to keep going if it weren't for two problems. First, Chinese regulators are cracking down on the reckless borrowing habit of the developer. This has forced Evergrande to start selling some of its growing business empire, and that's not going so well. It failed to sell its electrical vehicle business despite talk with prospective buyers. Some expensive buyers were waiting for fire sale. Second, China real estate market slowing. There is less demand for new apartments. The National Institute for Finance and Development from Beijing think declared the real estate market boom had shown signs of turning point, citing weak demand of slowing sales. This contributing to a slowdown in China's economic growth, which is self-repeating cycle to further erode demand for evergreen properties. Much of the cash that Evergrande has been able to drum up has come for pre-sold apartments that completed. Evergrande has nearly 800 projects across China that are unfinished, as many as 1.6 million who are still waiting to move into their new home, according from Barclay. While China regular step in to save it. What happened next late in the end of Chinese government authority? For years, many investors gave the money to companies like Evergrande because they believe Beijing would always step in with a rescue if it got too shaky. And for decades, the investors were right, but more recently, the trade have shown greater willingness to let the company fail in order to win China unstable debt problem. When it comes to developer, the authority until now been resolute about not stepping in. So far, this year, at least 11 developers have already default on bond payment. So far this point, China Central Bank has blamed Evergrande on poor management and reckless expansion for this problem and said the price crisis was limited to Evergrande. They are again to central bank governor has indicated that Evergrande was not likely to get a bailout. How will Evergrande failure affect China economy? Accompanied by the central bank the real estate debt and reduce the banking sector exposure to troubled developers, which means that the Evergrande failure will have less of impact on China's financial system. The reality may be more complicated. Panic from investors and home buyers should put spill over into real estate market and in price affecting also wealth and confidence. It will also shake global financial market and make it harder for the Chinese economy to continue to finance their business with foreign investment. Okay, okay, I agree with the article would be more difficult for Chinese real estate company to get fund and money from a foreigner investor. That's one. Two, that's we remember in 2008 we had a crisis, a real estate debt crisis, and that created a great recession. But this one could be as big or even bigger because on this article to only talk about Evergrande, but is there more than 15 company? Another one we can look at is Fantasia. There are at least 15 companies that they are in a similar situation. And we also know China own a lot of debt of the United States, and the global economy is related, right? They have a connection. What affect China will affect the world, and eventually the stock market. If we know people losing their trust on the money, the fiat currency, on the stock market, and after the stock market crash and trigger the AMC short squeeze, and a lot of people would put their money in crypto. That's another reason why they want to regulate crypto. They know the, the tsunami of investors will go on crypto soon. They already, the phenomena already start because we know uh, Turkey currency, the Fed currency, they were collapsed a few weeks ago. So a lot of people put their money in Bitcoin crypto. We know what happened with the Freedom Convoy in Canada. They received donation on Bitcoin. Uh, we know also Venezuela with the economic sanction from the United States, and also with Russia right now. Yeah, a lot of people are putting their money in crypto, in citizen. And I know Russia is considering accepting also um, payment and Bitcoin and crypto. So that's another possibility. For all those reasons, people will continue to move to crypto. And also, we see the mismanagement of the government printing virtual money uh, and also making payment for some program. And we understand most of G20 country are already deep trouble regarding the level of debt. And we also know with what's going on with the geopolitics beside the war, we know Saudi Arabia will probably switch from the petrodollar to petrol yuan. So we know we have still have a lot of debt. if they lose the global currency, they will have more inflation. We know inflation is already bad right now, but it'll be much worse in the next few months. And their currency may collapse. So for all those reasons, we expect a tsunami of investor and crypto the next few weeks and months. Okay, so now I will share another article. Give me one. Okay, that's an article regarding crypto regulation. Let me read this one. Crypto regulation, here what to expect after Biden executive order. President Joe Biden pleasantly surprised the cryptocurrency market by issuing a comprehensive or yet vague executive order that would inform other governments will oversee the booming industry. So what happened next? The US Treasury is leading or participating in most of the study, which range or average 60 to 180 days. Now the guideposts have been drawn. All officials in Washington are taking on that transient to crypto policy is very much an open question. One report, the agency is tasked with leading related to the future of a payment and money, an issue which the administration is expected to study aggressively is the issue of central banking digital currency CBDC. The biggest question involves how digital dollar will interact with stablecoin and other privately issued digital assets. All those related to the strategic position of the US dollar broadly and the relationship between digital and fiat assets. According to a senior administration official, CBDC will be examined for the use in real-time payment, and Ethereum would be another option. The Fed's forthcoming real-time payment system, FedNow, will enable consumer in business to send payment instantly starting in 2023 and could be a potential test case. Adoption of USCB could fundamentally alter the role of both central and commercial banking. Officials are thinking through what needs a CBDC will fulfill when FedNow is out. A real-time payment through that system are more possible. You could see stablecoin develop more rapidly and broadly if the adequacy of the disclosure certification of the green and audit function, say Hussein Giancarlo, former Commodity Future Exchange Commission chair. One feature may be retail payment are done through commercial operate stablecoin hosting from the Fed now payment system, said Giancarlo. Also the co-founder of Digital Dollar Project, which has explored the link between social value and CBDC. As other countries like China promote their own digital currency, Giancarlo has been pushing for the US to lead the way in CBDC. I don't think US is the first mover in terms of deploying CBDC, but we don't want US not to be the first mover in exploring the technology. Giancarlo told Yahoo Finance. It's like 5G. China is developing a digital yuan not just for domestic use but also export it. For every country that want to get off of the dollar, China will export to them the basic core CBDC can do. Yeah, will be CBDC and box provided to you by the People Bank of China. He said, if you Cuba, Ecuador, Venezuela, it will be something you import from China. The question of CBDC. The other big question that needs to be answered, say official, is here is the interoperability of your CBDC with international counterpart and how that will be structured. Officials say there are also some private projects or multi-central bank project to look at kind of CBDC and interoperability of CBDC. Biden executive order encouraged the executive branch to take the lead on that potential outcome. If the US pursue a CBDC option are taking into account that US tokens will interact seamlessly with the global system. Even the US dollar is the primary reserve currency and the center of the global financial system. Adoption of US CBDC could fundamentally alter the role of both central and commercial banking, Citizen Medvedev partner with its main financial industry group. Working out the factor in the EU is a policy and practical balancing act. A USC CBDC will have international concern, making it imperative that the private sector, foreign central bank, and other stakeholders have a seat at the table. Signatory. We work at Freddie Mac and Federal Loan Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC and Treasury. Yet nothing one digital could be recently at the end of the process. The Federal Reserve is also being asked to build its own research paper on the pro economy CBDC. We think the president order placed the islands urgency on such instrument. If the administration decides digital dollar is the national interest, officials will then get in mind which legislation should be imposed. The Justice Department has been tasked with looking into the matter. Oh, sorry. Um, the Justice Department has been tasked with looking into which legislation is required to move forward with a CBDC. Since the Fed is already engaged in experimenting with digital currency and a hypothetical CBDC, we would expect to see the result of testing make their way into the research and next step that better to their finance. Risk and solution. As a crypto industry at its core and goal, the industry is looking very carefully at risk to the investor, consumer, and financial stability from cryptocurrency. EU tasked the Financial Stability Oversight Council (FSOC) created after the 2008 financial crisis to monitor risk of financial system. We study what system risk digital supposed to financial system. The president working group on financial market currently tasked with looking to systematic the risk of stablecoin. Administration of officials say that we examine crypto as a whole through a process similar to the PWG report on the stablecoin. The report raised risk of around stablecoin, the operation stability of the stablecoin interest model, and the risk coming from consolidation of power or commercial business. Officials say the FCOC agency could go through similar exercise to identify risk and solution, but official fund but enough to familiar with the matter to yell family was unclear with the FSOC will get guidance about system risk, which may be the best left to regular legislation. Once the report completed, the government will have collaborated across agencies to come with a consensus to decide either in the case it need to end off a set of recommend for government to write around or if the agency will write a new rule under the authority. Okay, for this article, Is there two or three things I want to say regarding that? Um, After 2008, after the financial crisis, a lot of people lost trust in the system because they see is no accountability for the financial sector, the bank, and the government. And that's why to develop blockchain technology, then cryptocurrency. And people who already invest in crypto don't see the good eye the government try to interfere and try to regulate cryptocurrency. Um, some countries ban crypto, example China, but it does not matter because their citizens still using Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is not a local currency. It's a digital asset or digital currency, and it's uh, it's running worldwide. So you can get, purchase, sell, uh, swap, or make transaction with Bitcoin, other cryptocurrency around the world. It's not a local currency. It's not owned by the banks, not owned by government. And the different platform, specifically the decentralized platform, um, are not does not belong to the government. Sure, they will try to implement some money because the excuse is they try to prevent money laundering, but we know that's BS because money laundering, most of the money laundering is in US dollar anyway with the fiat currency. They will try to prevent the tax evasion, but if they really want to prevent tax evasion, they will attack and go after the tax haven, Virgin Island, Antigua, places like that. But of course, they want to attack the citizen that invest and want to make money and good return on investment, and stop the rat race, and build their wealth. That's the reason why they would put some fee, try to put some fee on the network, on different platform, put regulation, and also tax stablecoin, because stablecoin is one specific type of cryptocurrency. This one, uh, it's used like a bridge between the fiat currency, regular money, and the crypto world, and it's backed up usually by the by the currency. A lot of time by US dollar or something else. So of course they will tax fiat currency, but the good thing with crypto and blockchain technology, you don't need to swap for stable coin. You can do your transaction also with and stay on the crypto market. And I expect for them to take a few months to make their recommendation. Then we take 1 or 2 months for to have a um, regulation. So I expect it by the end of the year, or maybe early 2023 to have a regulation. So we have time to purchase more crypto and to move your crypto from a centralized to decentralized account, and could be a wallet in your cell phone, your computer, and of course you can move it to your cold storage or your other wallet, like a device similar to your USB key, or a small hard drive. So we have option, and that's why they're afraid of blockchain in crypto, because then they said they cannot control the technology, and that will give you more transparency when you make a transaction, because we know with the financial world they can do a lot of they can do a lot of stealing, They allow corruption with the data, so that's why they don't like cryptocurrency. Okay, I will be another article. Not I will be another article regarding stablecoin. That's a quick article. Stablecoin are compelling payment option, but they need to be regulated by the industry report said. The Biden administration said the stablecoin, a type of digital asset pegged to international currency, would transform the way Americans pay for everything from cell phone to their car. The president working group on financial market found that when regulated stablecoin would support faster, more efficient, and more inclusive payment options. City President Joe Biden said Congress would pass legislation that limits stablecoin instruments to ensure bank. Stablecoin, a popular type of digital asset pegged to traditional currency, would transform the way Americans pay for everything from a cell phone and gasoline to aircraft and cup of coffee, according to a long-wait report released by the Biden administration. One regulated stablecoin could support faster, more efficient, and more inclusive payment options, said President Working Group on Financial Market, which includes several top economic advisors to President Joe Biden. Moreover, the report revealed the transition to a broader use of stablecoin as a means of payment could occur rapidly due to network effect on relationship between stablecoin and existing user base or platform. Still, Biden economy analysts say Congress must introduce regulated oversight for more market structure as soon as possible to both protect inform investors, issuer, and exchange. Specifically, the Biden team recommend Congress pass legislation that limit stablecoin instruments to ensure bank move that will give far greater jurisdiction of the industry. Senior administration officials told CNBC that their report focused on risk, but the nation's top regulator thinks stablecoin offer a compelling digital payment option that need far more oversight from lawmakers. Unlike their volatile cryptocurrency that $120 billion stablecoin market inspires a large part to stablecoin to steady valuation and linked to national currency. These studies have made them a growing source of liquidity in cryptocurrency market around the globe. They are used by traders and investors to buy and sell other assets of safe place to park wealth. In a sense, stablecoins are more medium exchange and store of value like a traditional fiat currency. Also set them apart from crypto security like Bitcoin, which investors often see as a source of digital capital appreciation and potential market return. Like other digital assets, stablecoins need to be monitored to make sure they are in our bank working activity, Security Exchange Commission Chairman Gary said the press release. Money Johnson is a member of the President Working Group on Financial Market. The use of stablecoin present a number of public policy challenges with respect to protecting investors, he said. Further, stablecoin requires to sidestep most of public policy goals connect to our traditional banking and financial system, anti-money laundering, tax compliance section, and other safeguard against illicit activity. The administration said it spoke with several key players in the crypto industry and data analysts, including payment platform Visa, MasterCard, Square, Well Exchange Coinbase, and Chain Kraken. A paramount concern to working group as what we call prudential risk. Prudential risk include a lot of stablecoin issue inability to be honored, redemption request, and market consultation. The report also recommended that Congress act promptly to enact legislation to ensure the payment of stablecoin and payment of stablecoin arrangement are subject to federal prudential framework on consistency and community basis. To to remedy those broad concerns, the report recommended lawmakers limit stablecoin insurance to ensure bank. Class-effect stablecoin issued is a bank will give government agencies, including Federal Deposit Insurance Corp and the Federal Reserve, greater jurisdiction over the operation, risk management, and greater sense of ownership over wealth. Regulators will be able to impose capital and liquidity standards designed to keep financial institutions safe and ensure are able to honor coin redemption. The recommends party group pushback from one include quote Cynthia Lumet Abonwe, who said they to go too far and will design a small startup business. I agree with many of the recommended use the need for partnership legislation and prudential risk management. Probably the only issue because issue may issue stablecoin is misguided and wrong, she said preparing. We should all be able to agree that startups should have the same chance on the watch institution as the report credits state who commencement after the final say. Administration should also note that discussion with capital are still in early stage, while learning on both sides of the fence are likely to favor a better regulation. It's unclear who the commercial democrat will have any time to spare the work as both one creating patent infrastructure bill and to roughly 1.5 trillion as public payment package before the year end. The White House has for more anything topical advisor in the scope of the alternative solution on certified similar asset. Those discussions have relied on input from panel of senior regulators, while the dedicated ways to the financial system made by a working group regular number influence. Treasury Secretary John Yanni, Federal Reserve Chairman Joe Paul, and FDIC Chairman Chairman Wally, Senator Sean Brown, Ohio Democrat and Chairman of the Senate Banking Committee, approved the working group recommendation. Two-day presidential working group report highlighting the risk that the rapid growth of the represent to family and the economy. It said in a press release, we must work to ensure that any financial technology are subject to all the law regulations that can represent consumer and market and that they compete on the level playing field with the traditional financial institution. Uh-huh. Singapore letting current potential use can draw attention from capital hill and financial regulator alike. The Fed, for example, are for more bank studying the possible against the point or certain bank digital point. Ask September about Fed plan for your digital currency or another series of a both pro and con. We think it's really important that central bank maintain stable currency and payment system for public benefit. That's one of our job towards it. The Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, which lead to central banks mission for certain said that August central facility will help the US keep pace with countries like China and Sweden. Stablecoin and CBT agreed on safely digital currency tied to the dollar will help deliver payment to the public in time of crisis and help provide financial service to a community that non-banking. Fed Governor Librarian of Paul, key deputy and outspoken supporter of central bank's research. Given the dollar important role, it's essential that the Federal Reserve remain on the front of research and policy development regarding CBDC, she said over the summer. Why do you expect Biden to implement Berlin in the coming week? Okay. This article basically say um, they want to regulate stablecoin for prevent money laundering, tax evasion, and the most important part to give a chance for the financial institution in the bank to catch up with crypto because right now they cannot compete and more people are running away from the bank. And right now, stablecoin, we have at least 10 different stablecoin, probably more. And the problem they have, if they want to regulate and put too much regulation that penalize the citizen, people will just move away from different stablecoin because right now USDC and USDT backup and the result. What like I say is the more intent and stable so people move from different stable point. And is there no consensus on the one regarding regulation and legislation? And right now, with the geopolitics, we see more country. We see a split. We see two blocks split right now, and people, a lot of countries want to move from USO because the monopoly of the, and also the United States using their currency as a weapon, and they impose some economic sanctions. A lot of countries don't like that. So that's another problem there. And like I said, we don't need to use the stable coin to make payment and transaction. And right now, the stable coin, depending on what stable coin you're using, you have a lot. You can get, you can stack, basically get interest, and some between 1% to 20%, depending on which stable coin you're using. And no bank can give you that. So that's why to try to penalize citizens and try to grab or control the stable coin. But I can say that would fail. Maybe the new one will go to the stable coin because what with time more and more people will move from the stable coin in their digital dollar. They have to understand and accept the fact crypto is there to stay and is the new kid of the block and it's offered better option than the fiat currency and the digital currency and so they lost the monopoly. So and also with crypto, basically you don't need bank anymore. So they don't like that, but they are no choice of similarity. I read another article. This one notice. Okay. Crypto regulation is finally starting to catch up to market innovation. Regulation is rarely saved by any market sector, nor the investor and the sector. But the news that an exit order pertaining to the crypto asset has to be signed as greatly enthusiastic by virtually all market actors in the crypto space. It's even more interesting when the executive order itself is reviewed with no specific action policy, guideline, or other rule delineate within the document despite the Bitcoin and other crypto assets revealing on the news of the order being signed and by perceiving there seem to be a shift in sentiment in the marketplace as a whole. Even though there are no certainty chamber voice nor timeline points or on the there was a film or ripple as well of this announcement. What's the, this positive sentiment is even more interesting when you try the land of a still murky version and tax on the crypto asset. As tax season is firmly on the way at this point, tax collection the world over continue to grapple with the unbelievable uncertainty shown in crypto. There are still plenty of questions left unanswered, setting this tax issue aside, which is easier said than done. There are several reasons why this were correct and explain to the new our in positive way. Let's talk about why despite the lack of specific investment contemplative need for the crypto space. Crypto will not be banned, despite the increased interest from investors, individual users, and essential funds and people asset space. There was banditry or bad propaganda looking to the background. Although the United States has not made any move using it, several other major markets, including China, have actively and vigorously moved to splash private sector innovation. The several prominent lawmakers continue to focus on the potential negative effect of cryptocurrency. The possibility was removed but not entirely. Unfortunately, actually takes on itself in spite of lack of definitive making guideline from the benefit of people was significant. My previously mentioned the risk and the benefit of or incorporated, it seemed like the simple credit of the partial bank around certain crypto activity is on the table. Okay, we go to the next point. Competitions with another additional aspect of the work that is worth analyzing that the other made several prominent mention of the competitive nature of the blockchain and crypto asset space. Mass media may focus on price volatility, trading volume, or certain specific cryptocurrencies, scamming and fraud, but the implication of a blockchain-based asset extend far beyond those headline. Blockchain and crypto assets have been proven to work and deliver value to the marketplace. And this value is continuously reinforced by the continued increasing investment made by institutions and national state alike. Has been mentioned in numerous media outlets, both writing and otherwise. The global reserve currency status of Liverpool, while lower borrowing costs and almost endless demand for the dollar, destined to provide the US with an economic advantage, objectively speaking, of any nation in the world. Such position, however, is not guaranteed, and like any other financial instrument of utility, currency also should be periodically updated and upgraded. They mention that any session is publicly considering and discussing digital dollar is a positive step forward in the direction of modernizing the dollar and positioning the currency for continued leadership in the global system. While doing so will be a long and complex process, the fact that initially is part of the AMC plan for crypto possibly and permanent crypto dollar. Okay, so we read the last one. One last component of the executive order is the cost for services that the